Hello everyone and welcome to Maple Leaf Reviews. I'm Jeffrey Weber and today I'm going to be doing a review of Immersion. Now let's get started with the art and components. The art in this game can be quite polarizing. Some people either really like it, some people dislike it. There's actually two styles of art in this game. The art on the cards has this Celtic feel, whereas the art on the territory tiles is more realistic landscape type. I enjoy both styles of art in this game. The card quality is good. The cardboard quality is good. It also comes with plastic Citadel and Sanctuary little figures. I like those. The miniatures are quite small. Not the greatest quality, but there are different sculpts which is for purely aesthetic reasons, so that's nice. If the miniatures were, say, bigger, something comparable to Blood Rage, with how many miniatures that you're going to have on a territory tile, I feel like it could be quite crowded and busy looking. So I don't mind the quality of the miniatures or the size for this game. Next, let's take a look at the theme. In this game, you are the head of an Irish clan. You've set out from your homeland and you've discovered a new island. And you are competing with the other clans to try and be elected as High King of this new island and taking advantage of all the resources and abilities that you get from this new island. I definitely get the feeling of that, of working cross purposes from everyone else in the game, trying to manipulate different situations, make alliances, break alliances, moving across the territory and exploring. I definitely get that feeling in the gameplay of this game and while I'm playing it and interacting with the other people. For the rules and teaching, I've taught this game a number of times. The rulebook is very well done. The last time I taught the game, it took me 14 minutes. And everyone seems to be able to grasp the game pretty well. The only thing that I've had some trouble with is the combat system. But once people see it for a few rounds, they're able to grasp it. But it does take a couple rounds for people to fully grasp the combat in the game. The symbols, whether a card can be played as an action or as a reaction, make things very clear, as well as the wording on the cards makes it very clear. And it even comes with reference cards for the different phases of the game. So it's very easy for someone to pick up and learn Immersion. Next, let's talk about the large portion of this game, the gameplay and mechanisms. The very first thing that had me excited about Immersion when I sat down and played it was the twist on card drafting. Whereas normally in card drafting, whenever you select a card, that's locked in. You can't change that selection, and then each new hand of cards, you take one and then that's locked in as well. In this, every time you get a new hand of cards, you add your previously selected cards to that hand, and then that forms the new pool that you're choosing from. So you don't necessarily have to keep the cards that you selected in earlier rounds. It's a nice small addition and a twist to card drafting that makes it more interesting and dynamic. It's not something you're always going to be doing, but sometimes it can be quite important and quite useful. And I like that the game just doesn't focus on this one neat twist that it adds. It just has it as an accent to the gameplay that just makes it that much more interesting and dynamic. The next thing about the cards is that they are essentially multi-use. Every action that you need to take in the game, whether it be to add new clans, explore, move your guys across the different territories, you need to play an action card for that effect. Or you can also use the action cards to prevent a clan from being removed during combat. So even if you don't get the exact action cards you wanted, or something that might not be 100% useful to you during the draft, you're still able to use those cards during the season phase, potentially during the combat, to help prevent clans from being removed. The other interesting thing that this game does is, rather than just having generic territories, hills, mountains, plains, and them just being aesthetic and how they look on the board, there's actually a meaningful difference to the different territories and to the different territories that you want to be chieftain of by having more clans than anyone else. Each territory has an associated advantage card that at the beginning of the round, if you're the chieftain, if you have more clans than anyone else there, you're going to be able to add that card to your hand. So it could give you extra ability to move or do something or look at other players' cards or exchange cards, or when you attack, you can do so more effectively. They're really interesting cards and makes the decisions of where you're actually moving more meaningful in the game rather than it just being Area 1, Area 2, and Area 3. The other thing that it does is it kind of sets up a little bit of variability in the game when it starts out, because you're going to have different territories each time you play. So although the 17 core action cards that you're going to be drafting never change, which also, because those 17 never change, it makes it very easy to learn them and get to know what's in the card pool. But because the territories are going to be changing, it adds a different flavor every time you play the game in what's going to be available for people to be able to do. The other thing that this game has is multiple victory conditions. You either win by having being present in 6 or more territories, being chieftain over a total of 6 or more opposing clans, or being present in territories with a total of 6 sanctuaries. So there's multiple victory conditions. The person who satisfies the most at the beginning of a round is going to be declared the new High King. Because there's multiple, it makes it so that if someone tries to deny you in one area, you can potentially still go for one of the other ones. Also, with having the multiple and having all these different clans on the board and the different sanctuaries and all these things happening, it makes it very easy for you to try and manipulate or misdirect, saying, oh, this person's about to win, let's gang up on this person, but secretly you just are one move away from getting a victory condition. But also the thing that this game does, because sometimes it can be confusing to see who is able to win, when you meet a victory condition, if you want to be in contention for winning the game, you need to take an action to take a pretender token. And then that signals to everyone else that you are going to win, or you are in the running to win the game. And then everyone else can focus on you. That does a couple of interesting things. Number one, it signals to everyone else, so you can't just pull a win out of thin air. But the other thing is that you need to be careful when you take that token. If at the start of the round you meet a victory condition and you take it, well, you've just given everyone the whole round and all their action cards to try and stop you. But if you're trying to bide your time and wait until people run out of resources and their cards, and then you take the token, then they're going to have less options available to stop you. So I really like the multiple victory condition, as well as having to take that pretender token to say, hey everyone, I'm about to win the game. What are you going to do to stop me? The other thing in this game is combat. You have clans, you're all fighting for control of this island, but the combat doesn't appear to be the most singled out thing and the focus of the game. Sure, you can fight people, but one of the victory conditions is to be chieftain over opposing clans in territories where you are. So the game is not just about conquest. It's not about going across the land and removing everyone from being there. Sometimes that's not to your advantage. So I like that combat is there, but it isn't all about combat. It's not just about go in, fight, because it doesn't get you any victory points. Winning a battle doesn't get you a victory point. Usually what I found is people engage in combat when they need to stop somebody else from winning, rather than just actively going out and fighting whoever's there with them. Finally, I wanted to make a mention about the player count for the game. I've played the vast majority of my games 4-player. I've played once 3-player and no 2-player games. I think I'm going to continue playing this as a 4-player only game, because with the number of people involved, you're able to hide, misdirect. There's a lot going on, so people are not able to easily determine just at a glance of what exactly victory condition you're going for, so you're able to do that misdirection and manipulation a little bit more. With 3 players, it was a lot harder to hide with only 3 people, and even though I haven't played with 2, I feel like with 2 it would be even more so less able to hide, because you only have you and your opponent, and it'd be very easy to see exactly what you're trying to do in the game. Alright, so then on to my final thoughts and rating for Inish. For me, this game really took me by surprise. I think it's my favorite dudes on a map style game, primarily because it has combat, but it's not about conquest. I quite like that. It's not just about going out and attacking and bringing your fellow players down. So I'm going to give this game a 10 out of 10. I love the card play. I love the multi-use cards. I love that the card pool is small enough that you can know the pool intimately and know what's out there and what's possible. I love the interactions between players of, you got to be careful if someone's about to win. If you beat on them too much, well, then you're opening up the door for someone else to potentially try and win. And then even if someone has a victory condition, if you can just meet one victory condition, well, then you're tied, and then the game is going to extend for another round. I've seen people win with only having 2 clans on the board. So it's not just about having the most guys out there. There's some clever play and manipulation and things that you can do in Inish. So that's my review of Inish. If you like this video, go down, hit the like button. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We always appreciate when you do so. You can also head over to our website, meepleaf.com, where you can watch me and, well, listen to me and my co-host Jacob talk for games for hours and hours and hours. All right, we'll see you guys next time.